Man, y'all already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. The realities of being incarcerated. Those moments when what you've not only done to yourself, what you've done to others, what you've done to your family. Those moments of when everything actually sits in. It's a hard pill to swallow. When your conscience comes into play. When the whole reality of what you have done to your life, what your life has become, what you allowed to take place, sets in. Those are some of the most bitter, sweet moments. Beyond humbling. And they'll knock you down a couple notches. Make you look back at life and what you've done. Today we're going to get into some of my moments, man. Some of the moments that really stick out in my mind. Some of the moments that help mold and change me into who I'm proud to say I've become. A lot of people don't take the time to slow down and can recognize those moments. See the signs or see the beauty in the pain. Today we're going to get into the reality of prison. Y'all know I done seen it. You know I done lived it. So let's relive it. See, we're doing the Pink Bulls Fitted today. Shout out to all my cancer survivors. Salute to all the families that have lost someone or are dealing with someone with cancer. And to all the people that currently have cancer. Love people. Live every day like it's your last. Because you never know. Also, real quick. Been up all night. Tooth is killing me. Decided to have Panda Express. Somebody made a comment. We don't want to hear about your tooth. Don't watch. You can click off now and go ahead and unsubscribe. Around here, we're real. We talk about shit. We talk about life. Talk about what's going on in my life. My stories. But yeah, eating this Panda Express last night, and it felt like a damn shotgun went off in my mouth. Felt like I bit into an electrical cord. So I'm guessing a piece of rice went into the broken tooth. And that's where it has lodged itself until it decides it don't want to be there no more. Brushing, flossing, picking, all that didn't do anything but make it worse. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the realities of prison. One more thing. I'd seen somebody the other day taking a picture of me in my truck, which is cool. But if you're going to do that, use it for a good reason. Don't use it for this or that. You know what I mean? And if you feel some type of way, you got something to say, my door's open and my windows roll down. Don't be a bitch. Walk up to the truck. And to all my real ones, man, I love y'all. To all you Lewinsky's, keep doing what y'all do. Let's get into it. My journey to prison was a long one. It all ended for me in Philadelphia. Living off Greenway Ave, right across from a little bar called The Hut. First thing in the morning, bright and early, here comes the police. Here comes all these different organizations into the apartment we're in. Somebody's told on us. Somebody's done got mad and dropped our location. We were wanted all over, you know. Virginia being the main place that wants us. So it's in the handcuffs I go. From there, I sit in Philly locked up. Sit in what's called CFCF, Karen Fromhold Correctional Facility for my Philly cats. Or for people that don't know, it's a place located on State Road, which is, there's several, you know, spots on State Road. You got PIG, Adult Detention Center, House Corrections, the F. I sit in there for several months, waiting to be extradited back to Virginia. Philly's one of those places when you're locked up, it's all your favorites. When I mean all your favorites, it's non-stop shit all day. Dudes fight all day. Philly is known for having some of the greatest fighters in America come out of Philadelphia. A lot of great boxing gyms out there, a lot of great fighters, a lot of tough guys out there, a lot of guys that fight. You get locked up in Philly at some point or another, if you do enough bids or enough time, you're gonna fight. If you're a guy that walks around, you know, you ain't got to be cocky, just confident, not slouched. not letting people run over top of you, well, then you're going to get to fight. After a few months of being in Philly, they show up, Virginia does, puts me on a single-engine Cessna plane, all strapped up with the black box, orange jumpsuit. They fly me from Philadelphia into Richmond, Virginia. Been in jail, been awaiting transport, here it is, boom. I hit the next state, next jail. Same thing goes when I land here. You ain't got to be cocky, just be confident. That's how I've always done my time. I don't let nobody run over top of me. You're not going to put your hands on me. You're not going to take anything from me. Doesn't make me a tough guy. I was just taught by a different group of guys. Jail now compared to what jail used to be is a joke. Prison now compared to what prison used to be is a joke. It doesn't take me long after me getting into jail, I get into an altercation with a guy. And this would lead to one of the first moments of the reality and everything setting in on what I had done. Me and the guy get into it. He comes in my cell and he just crashed all the way out. The guards, me and him had a couple words out at the table. I got up from the table because I wasn't going to do all that in the middle of the pod. I wasn't trying to go to the hole. Still fighting my case, you know, trying to keep my head clear. I just, you know, deck the conversation and walk off. He comes running up in the cell, and we go at it. The guards watch it, see it, hear it, lock both of us up on a fighting charge. Now I went from Philadelphia onto an airplane to another jail. Then from there to the regional jail where I'm being housed. Now I then went from the regional jail to the hole, which is the jail inside the jail, where they strip you of everything. Take all your commissary. All your luxuries that you have while being locked up are stripped away from you, and you're given the bare minimum. Toothbrush, a book every now and then, you know, writing utensils, like you get a pen and a piece of paper, and they'd only let you have that when you come out your cell for your hour each day. And in that hour you can take a shower, write a letter, make a call if the phones are on, depending on what time of the day you get let out. I get out and I call my mom, and much love to my mom and a big salute to my mom. Mom was always there for me. Things I did in the streets, I never let carry over into my family. Of course, they paid the price for having to deal with me locked up, back and forth to court, needing money from time to time, not being there for the holidays. But I never let my madness in the streets, you know, spill over into my mom's house. I called my mom one night. I get out, they let me out for my hour, and she's like, "How you doing?" And I never really ever would reveal things to her. No matter how bad I was doing, out of love for her and respect for her, I would cover it up. "Oh, I'm good, Mom, I'm good." "You in the hole?" "Yeah, I'm in the hole." "You all right?" "Yeah, I'm good." "What happened?" "Ah, it's nothing, Mom. You know what I mean? Some little stupid shit happened. I got put in the hole." "So, well, you know, what's up?" "I'm not calling for no money or nothing, but I need you to do me a favor. Can you send me some pictures?" Yeah, I'll send you pictures, right? And you can get 5 pictures in an envelope at a time. And that was it. That was like the weight capacity and the amount of pictures you could put in one envelope. So she says, "Yeah, I'm gonna send you some pictures." Our phone call ends. I go back in this cell. I sit down on this concrete bunk with this little thin green mat on it, my sheet, my wool blanket, this countertop that consists of nothing but the little bits of food that are left on my styrofoam tray from dinner that I'm trying to ration out throughout the night to fight the hunger pains. It's deathly quiet. Like, it's so quiet at this time of night that you can hear people sleep, you can hear people breathing, you can hear people snoring, toilets flushing. It's really the only noises you hear, right? Somebody might cough and it might echo throughout the whole pod. Enjoyed the talk to my mom. kind of brought me back to reality, you know, what life was. And I remember just sitting in that cell, just looking around like, damn, what have you done, Jay? A couple days later, next morning I wake up and I'm just back into convict mode, back into brushing my teeth, waiting on chow, talking through the door to people, making noise, still young and lost. 2-3 days goes by and my pictures show up. And mail, you could have burnt every bridge with everybody you know in the streets. I've literally seen guys that would still go to their door when they call mail, or walk up if you're out in population to the officer that's handing out mail, like, did I get anything? Knowing they don't have anybody in the world that thinks about them or cares about them. So when they would call mail, and they would come through, everybody would go to their door, because you've got nothing else in that room. Nothing. A letter, a card, a picture, anything like that means a lot to you in those moments of isolation, those moments of despair, those moments of just emptiness. Damn, William, somebody loves you. You got a whole bunch of envelopes. The jail opens your envelopes and goes through them and looks and makes sure everything's, nothing's, no, there's no drugs in there, no nude pictures, nothing like that. And he slides me 5 envelopes through the crack of the door, right? So I go sit down on the bed and I lay the envelopes beside me and I'm looking at them. And I know that it's the pictures I asked my mom for. It takes me a couple minutes to open them, because I'm at a place where I'm torn between, you know, who I was and who I really knew I was. So I sit down and I start tearing these envelopes open and I'm looking through the pictures. Pictures of me and my mom hugging. Pictures of me and my brother when we were younger. Pictures of me with my sisters. All these different family photos of me free. Me for them brief moments happy. And then I come across a picture of my son. And it's just a picture of my son. I'm not in it. And he's got one of my fitted hats on. At the time I had this big gold chain with the praying hands on it. And he's got my chain hanging around his neck. I've actually got this picture. I'll share it with y'all one day. And I remember that picture hit me the hardest. It was in that moment right there that I realized what I had done. And when I say what I had done, I mean as an overall. Not just with me robbing and hurting somebody. But aside from that, aside from the fact that I had physically harmed another human being, I'm still going back and forth to court. My lawyer's telling me these numbers, 27, 17, 10, 40, like all these different possibilities of the time I can get. So I'm dealing with that in my head, that not knowing the outcome of what is going to happen to me. How long am I going to be here? When am I going to get home? I'm dealing with the fact that I'm in this box, this cell that's about the size of a parking space. And I have nothing. This is what they've given me because this is what I've created of my life. This is what I've earned. This is what I've worked for. I put in work to get to where I'm at. I put in work to get put in that cell. How stupid does that sound? But in looking at that picture of my son, I felt like the world's biggest piece of shit. Call it self-pity, call it a moment of awe, or whatever you want to call it. But all I could think is, he's got my hat on and he's got my chain. So he remembers me. He knows I'm his dad. And he reminded me, that picture reminds me so much of my little boy now. This is my oldest son, but he reminds me so much of who my youngest son is, right? And I couldn't help but sit there and think, I didn't just ruin my life, I ruined his. He doesn't have no dad. He's going to have to grow up dealing with whatever man his mom decides to bring home or be with. He's going to have to grow up dealing with when his father's Sunday at school, his uncle or somebody else going, if he's got somebody around, and he did, his Uncle Lonnie. Shout out to Lonnie. It was one of those moments where the reality of who I was, what I had become, and what I had done had set in. I can't think of a lot of times I cried in prison, but that was one of those moments where I sat there with my eyes filled with tears, just looking at his pictures. And all I could think was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Damn, I'm sorry. Like, I left you behind as a victim in my case. My family's going to have to wear the burden of trying to financially support me every now and then, driving a couple hours to come see me once I get to prison. The holidays with me not being there, that empty seat at the Thanksgiving table. I had to deal with the reality of what I had done. I took those pictures and I put them away and flipped them over. I put them back in their envelopes, flipped the envelopes over so I couldn't see my mom's name. And I didn't touch them for a while. Every time I would look at them, it would upset me, it would depress me. That was the first part of me realizing what I had done. Me coming to terms with who I was, but who I really wasn't. I went on to prison, and from there, it got worse, man. There's small moments, like I told you, that stick out in your head that you can close your eyes. I mean, just close them and visualize. Still smell those smells. Still hear those noises. And you can go back to those moments. This may sound crazy. I cherish every moment I'm out here in the world. I cherish every moment that I'm with my family and my kids. Being a father is the greatest gift I've ever known. Seeing my children grow, learn, and everything that comes with it, and being there for them is the greatest blessing I've ever known. And I'm thankful for that. Let's get into the next one, man. Growing up, violence was no stranger. We suffered the most violence right inside our house, right inside of wherever we were living at the moment. Wherever my dad stayed was always the most violent place that I would be growing up. My father was one of those people that was old school. And I don't mean old school like all people from that era beat their kids or did this to their kids. But he grew up in a time where people looked at it like, that's my child and I do what I want to him. He grew up in Cherokee, North Carolina. There's a reservation out there in Cherokee, North Carolina where my dad grew up. Believe it, don't believe it, I don't care. As I said, you can unsubscribe and click off the channel if that's what you want to do. But my dad was raised up in Cherokee, North Carolina on the reservation. That's where his mom lived, his dad lived. And he come up in a time where if you did something wrong, you either got punched, whatever was closest around to throw and hit your ass with, you got hit. There was no such thing as child abuse. People beat their kids in any fashion, any manner, however they wanted, and didn't nobody else say nothing. And if they did, they got some of it. Or everybody be looking at them like, that's not your kid, mind your damn business. So when he had kids, he used the same mentality. You know, they say hurt people hurt people. So he beat us the same way that he used to get beat. You fast forward past the streets, everything I've witnessed in the streets, everything I've saw, all the violence I've played a part in. Fast forward past me sitting in that cell, looking at those pictures. Fast forward many years, 4 or 5 years down the road now, still incarcerated. From that moment, I'd already been in jail, God knows how many months, when I got those pictures. Now you fast forward 5 years, I'm still incarcerated, still there, haven't been home, been sentenced. I remember the judge gave me that 10 years. It didn't didn't affect me the way I thought it would affect me. You would think, oh my God, if they give you 10 years, man, I'd faint right in the courtroom. I'd start crying. I'd start screaming. Nah, that's not really what happens. What happens is it takes a long time before the reality of what just happened sets in. I've met men that had life sentences, and still to this day, they believe that there's hope that they're going to one day go home. The reality of what the judge told them when he said, life, has still not set in on them. They still think some appeal process is going to come through, even though they've exhausted every appeal. They still think some law is going to come back that's going to release them. They still think that something is going to happen. They pray to God every night that something happens and they come home. They've still not come to terms. They still have not laid down. They're still not accepting what the judge gave them. It took me a long time before it actually really dawned on me, like, damn, man, this dude gave me 10 years, man. It's been years and I'm still here. Like, I have to do this. But the purpose of what I'm telling you is, and this sticks out to me, fighting, stabbings, cuts, people getting jumped, 5 years in, and not to mention dealing with violence my whole life, 5 years into my bid, that had become normal. Just as normal as seeing the mailman go by out front of your house, going to the grocery store to get some groceries. Hey, what you want for dinner tonight? I'm gonna make dinner. What you want? Just as normal as making dinner. That's how normal violence had become in my life. Two guys get into it, and both of these guys are just not right in the head. And when I say not right, they're not crazy, but they both always take it to extreme violence. The one guy grabs the other guy and commences to stabbing him, and the guy's running from him, and he's holding his shirt while he's stabbing him. And the guy's screaming, ah, ah, like this scream that cannot be, it can't be duplicated. Like in a horror movie, that's acting. But when somebody is really in that moment, feeling that pain, being attacked, scared for their life, trying to run and they can't, they let out this scream of just terror and fear and pain and anguish all in one. I watched this whole thing transpire. I watched this guy hold this guy by his shirt as he's trying to pull away and just stab him anywhere that the bottom of his hand lands, just sticking him and stabbing him everywhere. And I didn't feel anything. Nothing. No fear. No confusion. No excitement. Nothing. I just watched as he did it. Watched when he dropped the guy. When the guy he was holding him by his shirt just fell from all his wounds. And then the guy continued to do what he was doing until they came and got him. Went in my cell that night. I had a cellie at the time. He was all talking about it. And I was still just in prison mode. Just going throughout my routine. Changing through the TV stations. Seeing what I was going to watch. And I never really thought twice about it. Looking back on it, looking back on that incident in particular, and many more that transpired after that throughout the years, ones that transpired before that, that's not normal. The world I had created, the world I grew up in, had desensitized me. It had made it to where, to me, violence was just a way of life. Violence was an expression. It wasn't an act. It was an expression. Expression of anger, followed by the act of violence, right? Coming home and thinking back on those situations, on that situation in general, That is something that should terrify most people. That's something that the average person, most people, would never have to witness. And if they did, they seen it on a video or they seen it on TV. And even then they're like, oh, I can't watch this. To watch something like that transpire right in front of your hand, right in front of your eyes, and not feel anything from it, that's one of those things that makes you realize that everything you've done or been through in life is wrong. Fear is an emotion that you are supposed to have. Now I have fear. I fear not being here tomorrow to see my family move forward. I fear what their lives will become, my employees' lives will become, if I wasn't here. I fear now waking up tomorrow and enjoying the gift of just waking up. It is a sad day when you realize that the emotions that you're supposed to go through don't exist. That it takes extreme things to make you happy, extreme things to make you sad, and almost nothing to make you become violent. I pray that y'all all avoid anything like that. And for anybody that's ever been down my road or dealt with the similar situations that I'm talking about, I'm sure y'all can relate. I'm going to give y'all one more example of, you know, when reality hits home. I got one more story for y'all before we get out of here. My mouth is killing me, but I love y'all and I love what I do. Let's get into the next one. So I told y'all my mom came by, I believe it was last weekend. She spent the day with me, the wife, my kids, and we just caught up, talked. Pretty much just kick a day with mom, you know. The house is beautiful. You've done great for yourself. Proud of you. And like always, we got to talking about my brother. Y'all know my brother Jesse gets out in October. He will have been gone almost 4.5 years on a robbery charge. He's been, you know, in and out jail since I left. Prior to me leaving, he hadn't been in no trouble. He was your everyday average guy. That wouldn't last long, man. He fell into the cycle and started doing wrong. My mom asked me, have I seen his son, my nephew? And I haven't. For whatever reasons, you know, my nephew's mom doesn't reach out, doesn't accept any phone calls, so I haven't seen my little nephew, Jace, now, my brother's little boy, in probably about a year. And he's actually one of my favorite little people, man. A good little guy. She tells me this story, you know, of her taking him to see my brother. My brother and them, other inmates of Virginia here, have not had a physical visit in almost 2 years. Since this coronavirus, you know, stuff started, there's been no visits in the prison. All visits are done by video. That's how it's done. No face-to-faces. Well, prior to that, she had took my nephew Jace to see my brother. You know, took my nephew to see his dad. Said he was so excited. Now you got to think this is an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute drive with a 6-year-old in the car to a prison, to the penitentiary, to go see his dad. Mom's excited. She's going to see her son. Everything was good with the visit until it ended. She said when it ended, my nephew completely broke down. Went into complete hysterics when he come to realize that his dad wouldn't be leaving with him. He begged the guards, please let my dad go home. Please let him leave with us. The guard told him, your dad's got to stay here. Please let me stay. Just let me stay the night. Let me stay here with my dad. Please don't make me leave. Please let him go home. Or let me live here with him. I want my dad. As we all know, that didn't happen. My mom said he cried from the moment they walked out that visiting room all the way home and throughout the rest of the night. He cried. I love my dad. I miss my dad. She told me that, and it was sad to hear, but it took me back to a time, and I knew exactly every emotion that was felt dealing with that. Visits are a big thing in prison. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day when somebody cares about you and they come to see you. Someone that loves you and knows you outside of this place is coming to see you. For a moment, you feel normal. For a moment, you get to step away from all the chaos. You get to step away from what your life has become and reconnect with people that knew you on the outside world, people that care about you, people that don't want to harm you. Visits are just, anybody who's been locked up knows it's just an amazing feeling. It's something you work up to, you know, you prep for. Where we was at, they had an iron. I'd iron my jeans, iron my shirt. I always tried to stay presentable. I wasn't one of those guys that walked around looking like he got all his clothes, you know, balled up at the edge of his bunk and then put them on. I'd keep my clothes fresh just because that's who I was in the streets. But when visiting day rolls around, you're either going to pay somebody or you're going to iron your clothes yourself, and you're going to put in that extra work to make sure that you look, you know, you look good when you go over there. At this point, I may be 7 years in, 8 years in. Since the beginning when I told y'all everything transpired. From that apartment, that flight, that jail, that jail, that jail, that prison. Now I'm at this prison. I'm still here. Still ain't gone home yet. The reality of what's going on in my life hits me from moments to moment. And it takes little things to make you see what's going on. Mom tells me we're coming up to see you. Your brother's coming. Your sister's coming. Your son's coming. It'll be us four. We'll be there, you know, Sunday. So I'm excited. I haven't seen my son now in probably, at this point, maybe a year, year and a half. I haven't seen my brother in many years. I haven't seen my sister in many years. But my mom she was there for me. Mama loves me. I told you I was a mama's boy growing up. And I always will be at heart. It's the facts, man. Huh. So, I go over there for the visit. I sit down. And I'm looking around at everybody else sitting there with their people, eating chips, drinking sodas, laughing, sitting with their kids. Families are coming in. Guys are getting up and giving their grandparents, their mom, their dad, their girl, their side piece, whoever that's coming to see him, they're giving them hugs. Dudes got homeboys coming to see him. They stand up, give him a hug, dap up. What's up, man? Yo, thanks for coming to see me. I look over the gate, see my mom, my brother, my sister, my son standing there, and then they open the door. Then they open another door, and they come in, and they hand the guards the paper. And the guards tell them, find your loved one and go sit down. They come up, and I give them all a hug. As my sister approaches, she's crying. She hasn't seen me in years. And when you get incarcerated like that, unless you've dealt with like a physical, you know, ailment, unless you've dealt with a disease or you've been bedridden, incarceration is like, it's like the brother of death. Facts. It's almost like you're alive, but you're dead. Because you don't exist out here no more in the world. You don't get to partake in holidays. There's so many things that happen that you're no longer a part of, to the point that it almost makes you feel like you honestly don't exist. My sister's crying. I'm like, why are you crying? I give her a hug. She's like, I can't really speak. I miss you. I'm like, all right, it's all right. I'm all right. You ain't got to cry. It's going to be all right. We sit down, and after the hour, the guards, you know, visits have ended for offender such and such, offender such and such, offender such and such, offender such and such. Williams, your visit is over. I get up. My son has never known me to be free. My son has no memories of me ever being out there with him at this point now. He's about 10, 11 years old. He knows his dad is locked up. Can't remember a time when his dad wasn't locked up. Been doing this his whole life, coming to see me. So walking out that visiting room, he didn't do what my nephew did. He didn't cry. All right, Dad, I love you. I'm going to draw you a picture, or, you know what I mean? I'll call home and we'll talk. Whatever. But my mom and my sister, they both broke down when they left. They have to leave without me. They love me. They know the real me. Not the person I pretend to be in the streets. Not the person I pretended to be for the females. Not the person I pretended to be for these clown-ass, fuck-ass dudes, man. These nobodies, man, that I ran with in the streets. They know who I really am. They still remember me as that little blonde-haired boy. They still remember me as a kid, you know, us playing together. My brother, all right, bro, be safe, man. You know, I'll see you. Call me sometime. All right, man, I'll call you. And they left. I turn around, I go through the back, I get strip searched, and I'm walking back to my building, and I just have a feeling of emptiness. I have a feeling of just not being human. Almost like, now like you go to the pound and you walk by them cages and you see them dogs, and them dogs start barking, they get so excited. And then as soon as you leave, they go back to being quiet again. That's how I felt. I felt like one of those dogs. My mom and them, they're getting in their car and they're getting on the interstate and they're leaving. And here I am walking back to a building that consists of almost 350 men, convicted from everything from, you know, theft to murder to rape. And that's my life. Sitting there thinking about it that night, the reality set in. I've hurt so many more people than I'll ever realize. People cry for me. People miss me. My whole life has been bullshit. Why? Why did I throw everything away? Why didn't I listen? Why is this what I wanted? This has to be what I wanted, because I did everything they said I did. I had every opportunity to do everything other than this. Anybody watching this, you have all these other options, but we choose the worst. And then we end up in these situations with every story I told you today. No one put me there but me. The judge, the prosecutor, the streets, nobody put me there, because nobody forced me to do anything. I willingly committed my crimes. I willingly left my son behind. I willingly left my family. I chose to put that burden on all of them. That is the reality. That is the main message I want to get across to y'all today. It's all fun and games until those handcuffs click on your ass. Until them blue and red lights flash in your rear view mirror. And you realize when your heart drops into your stomach, oh shit, it's over. I'm done for. Man, if they search this car, if they run my name, it's all fun and games, right? When you brag to your homeboys, or y'all laughing about what you just did, or you're out there on that block, or you riding around with dudes, or you doing something you shouldn't be doing. It's all fun and games until the handcuffs go on. Anybody that's ever done time that disagrees with that hasn't done enough time. There is no other feeling in the world like that feeling you feel when you see that cop coming in your direction, or those lights light up in your rearview mirror. There's no feeling in the world that can compare to that. There's no feeling that can compare to watching your family members cry, grieving you, and you're standing right there before their eyes. These are some of the realities of prison, the realities of the things you're going to go through while being incarcerated. The things that, rather than make you feel sorry for yourself, These are the things that should make you want to be a better person. These are the things that should make you change your bullshit ways, the way you think, the people you run with. These people do not care about you. Yeah, dudes are going to kick it with you if you're shooting dope and they're shooting dope. Yeah, dudes are going to kick it with you if you're a wino and you drink all day because they're winos. Stop doing what they're doing. Stop feeding into that lifestyle. Stop having things in common with those type of people. And see how many people still kick it with you that don't want something from you. They're just going to go on to the next person that does what they do. QOP. Quality of people. Focus on that. Focus on the type of people you surround yourself with, and that's going to play a major part in who you become in life, where you end up in life, and if you ever see the penitentiary or not. To all you young kids watching, teenagers watching, grown-ass children, meaning adults that still think like kids, you could be sitting here telling these stories one day, having to deal with people, oh, that shit's blah, 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 that didn't happen. You could be the one that actually has to live these things because you didn't listen. I empower you to don't ever get out here and do the stupid shit I did. Don't ever let there be a day go by that even if you don't have your son, you can't stop by and see him or pick up a phone and call him. Don't ever put them in a position where they have to walk away from you and cry because of you. Crazy, man. I just wanted to kick it with y'all, man. Let y'all get a little deeper into who I am, the emotions you're going to feel, the things you're going to go through, things I've been through. And the whole purpose of this, like I said, was to try to save somebody or stop somebody. I can't tell prison stories forever. I don't want to tell prison stories forever. It's entertaining to y'all. That's why I said you're not entertained. I appeal to the masses and give y'all what y'all want. But sometimes y'all really need to listen. It's all fun and games until my stories become yours. Anyways, man, these jails, institutions, detention centers, these facilities, they're all just crazier worlds inside of this already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute.